Hi, I'm Pastor Theron. Welcome to Church Where You Are and Story Sermons, relating life's experiences to the Bible. I'd like to tell you a story. But first, I'd like to say a special word of thanks and welcome to some people I went to seminary with that were there while I was attending. A couple of professors in particular. One, Dr. Stewart, the very man that I made my very first story sermon video about. Dr. Barlow, who has gone on now, but a man dearly loved who prayed for me many times. That's a story for another day. And Dr. Ortiz, who this particular video will be about. He was my archaeology professor and just a good man. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. I also like to say a word of thanks and welcome to some of my fellow students that were there when I was there, namely Aaron, that came over from Lake Charles to attend about the same time I did. My neighbor right across the hall from me, David, and Pilar, a fiery little Colombian. Just some really great people that I met while I was there, and miss y'all and hope to chat with you again sometime. Going to seminary is a tough thing. It's any higher level education is tough. Not only do you have the course load, you're attending classes and you have your lectures to go to and the labs and the meetings, and then you've got your regular work to do. You've got all the reading that goes along with it. You've got the tests and the studying and the preparation. Money is always an issue when you go to college or a higher level education like that. You spend so much time on your course load and studying and preparing that you really don't have time to work a regular job. I sure didn't. But then in addition, when you attend something like seminary, you have a spiritual aspect of it as well, that the devil will throw everything he's got at you. I remember one of my professors said, do you think the devil wants you here? Do you think he wants you learning more about God? It was crazy. I remember in particular one month I had 3 flat tires in a month. Just things like that. Just there's always some kind of difficulty. There's some kind of struggle within the apartment complex that I lived in. There was 4 apartments, little quadplex apartment. David lived across the hall from me, and we had people downstairs. There were some times when the 4 families came together, we pooled resources so that we could all eat. Just things like that. It's just tough. Just tough to do something like that, to attend a higher level education. It's tough to follow this calling. It's tough to prepare yourself for what you think God is calling you into. And like I said, the devil throws everything he's got at you. Well, our car that we drove to seminary in, a little green Suzuki Swift, it's called, like a Geo Metro is what it looked like, got totaled. My wife at the time was driving back to the apartment and got sideswiped, ruined the car. She was not hurt, but the car was absolutely ruined. And so we had to junk it and then look for a new car. Well, oddly enough, right down the road from the seminary in New Orleans East, there was a Hyundai dealership called Courtesy Hyundai. I don't know if it's still there or not, but if it is, I recommend you go. They treated us perfectly. We bought a new Hyundai Elantra, a little blue car, and I guess we had it about a month. And driving back to New Orleans from Lake Charles, I guess we had gone for a National Guard weekend, or I was filling in at the church over there or something. But on the way back to New Orleans from Lake Charles, somewhere east of Baton Rouge, around Prairieville, I hit a deer. Or more correctly, the deer hit me. I was driving 70, 75 miles an hour down the interstate, headed east on I-10 out in the dark, about 10 o'clock at night, and I didn't even see it. And it ran into the front quarter panel of the car. It smashed up the light and bounced off the car and ran off. There was a guy behind us with a big truck. He stopped. He had a spotlight, and he shone the spotlight looking for the deer on the side of the road, didn't see it. We assumed it just ran off. That's what they do. They're tough. Somehow or another, in the goodness of God, the car was still drivable. It was pretty beat up, and it made some weird noises, but we got all the way back to New Orleans, and put it in the shop. It was in the shop for about 2 weeks. And so we were without a vehicle. Before class would begin in any given seminary class, and there where I attended, and in the way and the time that I did, each professor would ask if anyone had prayer requests, and we always began class with prayer. Well, as I was sitting in one of my archaeology classes with Dr. Ortiz, I mentioned this, that my car was smashed up, and we were without a vehicle. He told me to come to his office. So after class, I sure enough, I went to his office, and he offered me his pickup truck, just to use it. He said, "You have a need. I have the resources. Go ahead and use it." I was absolutely astounded. I don't take these things lightly. He just offered it to me, and I said, "Well, do you want me to wash it?" He said, "No." I said, "Do you want me to fill it up with fuel?" "No." I said, "Do you want me to have the oil changed? Does it need tires?" I was trying to earn it. That's what I always do. But he said, "No, just treat it like it's your own. Just treat it like it's your own. It's not mine anyway." That particular phrase stuck in my mind. And I thought, oh, I see. It belongs to somebody else. And since it belongs to somebody else, it doesn't really matter. It's not really valuable to him. He's just holding it for someone. In those days, there was a bumper sticker that people had on their vehicles that said, "Drive it like you stole it." And when you diminish the value of something like that, you don't put a whole lot of value in it. And so you can treat it however you want. What I didn't understand was that's not at all what he was trying to say. What he was actually saying to me was, "I trust you with my vehicle. I trust you to use my truck in the way that you would treat your own things. I know you're not going to mistreat it. I know that if you have some problem with it, you'll get it fixed. I know that if you have some sort of an accident with it, it won't be your fault." He trusted me with his truck. Really, what he was saying to me is, I understand the truth of this particular scripture verse, Acts chapter 4, verse 32. It says, "All the believers were one in heart and one in mind. No one claimed that any of his possessions was his own, but they shared everything they had." Now, I had experienced that in my apartment complex, sharing everything we had. But here is a professor offering me his pickup truck to use, and I used it free of charge for those 2 weeks. I will forever be indebted to this man and grateful for the opportunity he gave me. It was a tough time. My vehicle was damaged. He had one, and he said, "It's not mine anyway. Go ahead and use it." He understood that all of this belongs to the Lord. Well, now we're in a different time. The world seems to have gone crazy. COVID has affected us all. I think that you will find as the world begins to open up, and it is, as restaurants and public meeting places begin to open up, as churches begin to open up, you're going to find people in need. People are going to be affected by all that has been going on, all that has been happening. People have been out of work. People are looking for new work. People are looking to better themselves. And as churches reopen, we need to be able to help people, especially those in need. We need to recognize the truth of this passage, that all the believers were in one heart and in one mind, and no one claimed that his possessions was his own, but they all shared everything they had. We have resources that somebody else might need. Take, for example, your particular church. Your particular church has an office, and in that office there are probably computers. Those computers might be used to help people get on the internet and find a job, to email a job, you might have a printer, you could print out resumes. There are lots of ways to help people. Maybe it's as simple as you make a little lunch and give them out to people that are in need. Maybe in your parking lot, you can allow people who've had to sell their houses and move into their cars a safe place to park overnight. Maybe some fresh water coming out of the spigot in the side of your building so that they can refill water jugs and water cans. Maybe your church is like my previous church, my second church. We had a full basketball court and locker rooms with showers. There might be people that need a clean bathroom or a shower, maybe a clothing closet or a food pantry where people can come in and get the things that they need, get some new clothes so that they can look presentable to go to an interview. And your church, your group, your organization might have a hand in these things, that we can understand that these things are not our own. We're trying to help other people. We're trying to do ministry. Ministry, as I've said so many times, it is messy and it's expensive and it's humbling. It is love in action. It's the love that Jesus would offer to us. It's the love that Jesus did offer to us. It's the love that Dr. Ortiz offered to me, that my fellow apartment members all met together and shared what we had together, that the disciples did, and that we now can do for those around us. I hope this speaks to you. I hope it blesses you. Thanks for watching.